Hello everyone, Kenty Tiger here with Bengali Engineering and Play. We are back in Space Engineers. We're continuing on in our modular utility vessel refit now, which we started in the last episode. The idea was originally this was all built with Kenty blocks. Or rather, not all built, but there were a significant number of Kenty blocks. Because I really do not like posting the Kenty blocks builds up on the workshop, because that would then require you to actually have the Kenty blocks mod, which is rather scarce. It's not a public mod. So I wanted to make all of these builds into generic vanilla builds. Now, as we've discussed in the past, it's not truly vanilla because of the scaffolding. So the scaffolding mod, just called scaffolding if you do a generic search for scaffolding in the workshop, you're going to find this one. Why do I use this mod? I've talked about this in the other series, but this is a finished block that's not a finished block. So as you've seen in the past, there's a lot of mod authors out there that use these unfinished blocks as an aesthetic, and they do look really, really neat. So this mod, because many people also use the automatic building and grinding mods, such as the Nanite Control Factory, such as the build and repair mod. Those will seek out, find unfinished blocks and finish them. So if you had built an unfinished block for aesthetic value, it will not differentiate, and boom, it finishes that for you and totally screws you up. So that's why I like these particular types of mods. So there's the scaffolding mod, and then there's a mod that I believe is called unfinished blocks, and I have not played with that, but that's one that I believe is in my mod list. Not on this particular one. I don't. Well, maybe it is. So anyway, what we have done in the last adventure was to chop the front off the ship, because I wanted to keep the front of the ship relatively intact, and then we are refitting the front of the ship, and then we will reattach to the front when we get there. I have not yet chopped the back off because of the adventure last time. It was kind of one of those crazy Space Engineers thing where this front, after I chopped it off, went screaming across the universe, which was a little bit strange, and I went and got it and brought it back. So we have yet to do the same thing back here, but we will. Alright, so I was in the process of refitting. We have, obviously we're going to have some issues up front here because of how all this is, I believe all of this is connected in, but we will discover very shortly whether that is true or not. So as I am converting some of all of these, then we're going to find out if this works or horribly dies. So my conveyor, and it looks like it worked. Conveyor again in the center. Would be my intention to change this one and this one out for, oh darn, running into that. So ideally would be to change this out to a the reactor is there, so let's go ahead and turn that upside down. It's not ideal because I lose the visibility of that. But maybe that's okay. Alright. We'll pretend that's okay. So this is going to be called nitrogen thrusters incomplete. Oh, actually I know why. Okay, those are damaged. Alright, so this is a gas generator, not an oxygen generator. For those of you who find that to be just as frustrating as I am, as I do, if you are trying to type something in the name box and you move your cursor out of the name box, you can't type anymore. Now, why somebody thought that was a great idea, I have no idea, but this is Keen Software House after all. So make sure your cursor is in the box and then you can type just fine. Otherwise, you'll be frustrated as shit about that very thing. Okay, so this is forward port 1. Alright, that's because this is not attached. Alright, so this is a gas generator, forward, starboard, 01. Why did I name that 01? Small reactor, so this is reactor, small forward. I don't think I have another reactor, maybe I do. Alright, so one of the things, frozen. One of the things I need to do here is change the name of this to actually forward port 02. And the reason I'm doing that, forward port 02. So this is hydrogen tank forward 02. This is hydrogen tank forward 01. As amusing as it would be to say forward, forward, and forward aft, we're going to call those 1 and 2. And the small cargo container here, the question is, where is the other cargo container? This is showing that I have another cargo container here. Small cargo container, but I don't know where that is. Alright, so let us turn on this. Alright, we're going to put a temporary antenna on here. Do I have? I don't think I have a antenna, so let's do that. We'll stick antenna, hello, turn. Ah, that's why. because it's back here. Makes perfect sense. So this is cargo container, fuel, ice perhaps, aft lower. Now that I know what that is. Alright, so I think I can now change out this thing. Here's the other problem is that medical bay is also a Kenti mod medical bay. So I got a problem there as well. Okay, eliminate that. Yeah, I'm going to run into just an infinite number of problems here because the cockpit is just too small. Alright, we'll deal with those later. I'm not really thrilled with the cockpit anyway because it's not showing as airtight even though it should. Alright, so we have the forward reactor here. Okay, small forward. Let me see if I have my welder. A what the hell moment because I had all my stuff in here yesterday when I saved, and clearly I no longer do. Alright. If I have the supplies I need in here or not. But I'm gonna look. Okay, I want inventory. If I have anything there. This generic and generic. Data magazines. Don't really want those. Hydrogen bottle and oxygen bottle. Efficient grinder, we'll find a dandy. Oxygen bottle, oxygen bottle. Alright, so hydrogen bottle, oxygen bottle, oxygen bottle. I want 3 hydrogen bottles, or what I normally carry my grinder, oops, you know what, I don't want that particular grinder. I like a proficient grinder because the other grinders actually grind way the heck too fast. And there's my elite welder. And do I have an elite drill anywhere? No. All right, well, so for those of you who are not aware of Space Master and getting the things that you wanted, so I need a elite hand drill. This is replacing all of the stuff that for some reason has vanished out of my inventory. So I need 3 more hydrogen bottles, 2 more hydrogen bottles, rather. Hydrogen bottles. Hydrogen bottle. And the last thing I need is ammunition. Not that I'm actually playing where I need ammunition, but I have ammunition. And in fact, I have specialized ammunition here. A little bit more powerful than the generic stuff. All right, so reviewing. So what I need to do is jump back here. Inventory. Gas generator. Hydrogen bottles all filled up here, so we're going to put that one there, going to put that one there, and this one there. Alright, so my inventory is back to what I was hoping it would be. Control F5, do a quick save. Oh, darn. Did not want a control, I wanted a shift F5, damn it. Alright. Okay. So, for sake of, I have a super gas generator back there somewhere on the side. I think it's just 4 of those. So let me go back to number 3 and number 4. Good. Put that there. Put this here, and this here. Generic. Put that there, that one there, that one there. Oops. Actually not that there. Get on the right screen. 8. Number 3, which is another small container. Okay. So this is cargo container. Fuel, ice, aft, upper. Now, if I remember correctly, my gyros were here. So let's go ahead and put gyros back here. Did I put them up or down? I put them inboard. Alright, we'll do the same thing here. 5, and we'll do them inboard. So that should have done the same thing on this side. Alright, so we have effectively replaced back here. The only thing we need to do is actually put ice, or rather put these guys here. Break, and then alright, so this is gas generator. Aft, starboard, 01. Gas generator, aft, port, 01. Because that's the forwardmost of the gas generators in the aft engineering area. Alright. Well, actually, let me look here. Alright, so we are effectively at the place where we need to chop the aft portion of the ship off. Or shall we be a little more generic and reattach the front portion first? Perhaps that's a good idea. Why did I paste that block there? Pasting is a little bit strange. So you notice that my reticle is pointed towards that thruster. I hate to say something as absolute as your rotation on this grid, which is this small forward portion of the grid, will rotate around that block. There is actually some truth to that. So even though it doesn't function in the same way that it used to when it came to pointing towards particular blocks and pasting, pasting is a really strange thing now, and we may actually see some of that here. But having said that, I'm pointing to that thruster because that thruster is going to be hopefully mated up with that block I just put on there. Alright, so let's do a Shift F5 and we'll wait for the game to actually save. Saved. We're going to do an X, and then we're going to do a paste. I know that sounds really, really strange, but alright. and okay, so you see it's green, it is touching, it is exactly where I want it to be, surprisingly enough. So I'm going to do the left click, which will actually put that onto the front. Alright. Attached. Okay, obviously I've got a lot of work to do up here because I have this pretty large section here that is kind of what it is. Okay, now I've got a couple options here. I can basically cut this back end off, or basically take the large thruster off and rework everything around it. Now my inclination is to go ahead and cut it in half because I gotta look at something here to see. Yeah. So ideally would be to cut through here, but I'd be cutting through my parachutes, which is not what I wanted to do. But at the same time, I think in this next iteration, now that I'm ripping everything apart, I am going to go ahead and reverse front and back. I didn't do that before, and I guess it's really personal preference on hows or the whys of doing that, but I'm going to go ahead and chop through right in front. Pretty much save game right before the oops, get out of here. Alright. So I'm expecting the same kind of shenanigans in this one as the other one. Oh, okay. I am delighted that nothing actually happened. X. B. Wow, it didn't even change orientation. I'm impressed. All right. Okay, so not entirely generic because of things. So let's go ahead and change these out for, oops, 3, 4, better. So undo that one, undo that one. Make sure I am seeing everything. Battery. Yes. And alright, down and okay. sure why those weren't there, but all right. Okay, so I'm going to try and mirror what's on the aft section, which is that there, and then this and this. So I think that's what I'm seeing aft with the battery, and yep, I think so. So there will be the two tanks in here, which I think will be all right. One of the things that is strange, and I don't know how it happened or why it happened, but so there was actually quite a bit of ice in the generators, and I forgot to transfer it. Oops. Darn. Alright, so here's what we have so far. So the front is just a matter of putting the thrusters and everything back together, and then I will have to, well, the centers I think are still intact, but I will have to do the maneuverings all over again, I believe, because I have now separated, you know, parts and parts. So what I have to do back here is to understand what I have broken and what I have not. So I am going to attempt to put, okay, so I'm going to have to delete so I'm missing that entire portion because that was where the thruster, the lower thruster used to be. So what I want to do is see here how this is. So now the thruster will be all the way aft, which is going to be entirely open. Alright, so that is not entirely the case anymore. So we know we are eliminating these. I wanted to put this all the way aft, which means okay, so these guys have to go. Zero, 3, 4. So this becomes that these two are gone, these two are gone. That becomes conveyor, 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 conveyor. That one goes away because we are shifting this the thruster all the way aft because the thruster is all the way forward here. So we need that thruster there and this thruster here to mirror aft. Okay, so this is there. So I need to pull up my generic and hydrogen thrusters. Which is there and there. Okay, so now the large hydrogen thruster will be right here, centered there. So then it is the matter of figuring out exactly what this is right here, which should be a gyro, which is center lined, which is that. Alright, so everything else looks to be okay. Alright, here's where it gets a little bit dicey. On the bottom, or rather on the front, the oxygen generators were here. Can't do that here because I've got that connector there, which means they're going to have to be up. So disconnect. I'm going to rotate those around backwards. So we should have a center. Yes. Alright. Not necessarily ideal, but they do connect in here. Okay, so this one is the starboard O2. So, gas caps lock maybe. Gas generator, aft starboard O2. The other one here will be the aft starboard O1. Oh, sorry, aft port O2. Gas generator, aft port O2. Oh, you know what? I'm reversing. I am reversing. This is the starboard. Nope. I'm getting myself all turned around here. Okay, so this is the starboard side. Starboard side. Starboard 2. Alright, because the starboard one is right there. Okay. Now, 3, we put that one there. Hopefully this doesn't all break apart. That goes there. Take that off. This one really serves no function. All things considered, this piece right here serves absolutely no function at all. So that would either be another connector to mirror the other side, no, we'll go ahead and put that there because that will allow the hydrogen thruster to connect in there. Not that it really needs to, because it's got the one on the other side here. This also connects in. Alright. So, all things considered, this is the aft small reactor. Small aft. All right, time to put the tanks in. guess it doesn't really matter, does it? Facing forward. Why not? We'll do it that way. Alright, and just like we did before, we put a generic center there. Back off just a tad bit. X. Paste it back in. Wow, it even stays right where it. And paste. Nice. All right. Okay, so we have 8 gas generators. Currently no ice, of course, but 8 gas generators. I don't think that is going to be enough to really do what I want to do. So another real question. All right, let's get the hydrogen thrusters in here, which actually are going to be forward. So there's going to be 4 under here. So that's connected in the front. All right. 8, 7 is my hydrogen thrusters. I'm going to spin those over. Let me get up here. All right. So there's port forward. Port aft. Not sure why that one lit off, but none of the others did. The question is 4 going to be enough? Is 4 going to be enough? And I really don't know the answer to that. Will 4 be able to lift everything? This is really kind of conceptually about lifting off a planet. You know, is there enough force to lift this thing off the planet? And I guess we'll just have to find out. So we'll leave that for now. All right, I'm gonna do something. This may or may not be problematic. Oops. Oh, okay, I'm okay. I thought I was seeing prosimian. Alright, so 2 more tanks aft. And 2 more tanks forward. Is this an efficient use of this space? I don't know. I guess it doesn't really matter. Alright. This is going to add 12 more . One, two, three. I'm gonna spin that one because I like all the lights. And 3, 4. And now that that's there, how do I put that in? Alright, so that is back together. Alright, so let me get myself sidetracked here. That's gone, that's gone, that's gone. This is a piece like that. Okay, if I remember correctly, this was a gyro 5 and is centerline. So that should be my 8 gyros back. Okay. Do I still have a group for gyros? No. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright. So, this is gyro... How about a 1? This is a gyro 2. This is a gyro 3. This is a gyro 4. 5, 6, 7, 8. Gyros. Tractor. Save. Toolbar config and take them off the terminal. Alright, cargo containers. These are all fuelized containers. I do not know if there is enough. Containers, fuel, oops. fuel ice. I think we'll just call those fuel ice because there's not anything anywhere. Alright. Toolbar config, I can turn that off and off on the terminal. Gas generators. Okay, so I have those. Forward tank. Alright. So this tank is actually aft 01. This one is aft 02. Five is in fact aft port. 6 is aft starboard. 7 is forward port, and 8 is forward starboard. Okay, how do I know that? The aft 2 tanks got put in front and then the back, the centerline tanks. So that was aft 1 and 2. Okay, 1 being forward, 2 being the second one. So again, avoiding the humor of aft forward, aft, right? Then I put the 2 aft outer tanks in afterwards. I pasted on the port side. Okay, so that's going to be the one you actually paste, but the mirror is the next one in the list, which is that aft starboard, because I pasted on the port side. Obviously, if I pasted on the starboard side, it would be the opposite. So let's test me to see if I'm correct. Okay, so here's this tank. If we look at this tank, that is port, or rather forward 01, right? So okay, forward 01. So that one should be forward 02. This should be forward port. Forward port. Which means this one will be forward starboard. Forward starboard. Zoom back. Oh, what the hell was that? Damn it. Run into the antenna. Damn it. Oh, sigh. Okay, aft port. Alright, so all of those are where they need to be. Here's what I want to do. 3, 4. Oops, that is not what I wanted. 0. 4. So we're going to do the same thing here as we did in the front. We're going to add 6 more generators in here. In fact, before we do that, okay. All right. So this is gas generator port. Sorry, forward port lower, and then this one will be mid. Gas generator forward port mid. And forward port upper. Oops, that was supposed to be gas. generator. Forward port upper. Does naming these matter? The quick answer is no, unless you're OCD, and then it matters. So this is forward, starboard, lower. Gas generator, forward, starboard, mid. Gas generator, forward, starboard, upper. Okay, I'm going to go ahead, and this was that fuel ice container that I turned on the HUD, so I've got to turn that off. All right, so I really want to put 2 more gas generators in here. Now the problem with that is I've got a thruster there. Hard to get that thruster there unless I move the thruster up to the top, which I could. Not exactly what I wanted to do, but I could. Or I put 1 in here, and then so I can't put 1 here. Well, I can put 1 here. In fact, maybe I should put 1 here. Control 8, 2. All right, so I've got the port on the side, which will then connect in there. Okay, so this is actually, let's go ahead and do this intelligently. We'll put this in port, so that way it'll be port and starboard. Okay, so this is now forward port front. Or do we really do it? Forward port forward. Why not? Why not? Oops, gas. Generator. Forward, starboard, forward, D, how about? There's a reason for this. Not gonna make any sense at the moment. All right, let me go total naval convention on you here. Nope, actually I don't need to do that. Okay, so naval convention, spaces. For those of you who have ever been on a naval ship, or in fact a lot of ships around the world use the exact same conventions, but the United States Navy, they have what they call a bullet board on the every space has an identifier. And here's how it goes. The deck that you are on, the level you are on. So, okay. Naval space trivia. Decks are from the main deck down. Okay, so as you go lower, the deck numbers increase. Okay, so the main deck is 1. The deck lower than that would be 2. The deck lower than that is 3. So they increase numbers as they go down from the main deck. The main deck is the key here. What is the main deck? The main deck is the deck of the vessel that goes from the sternmost portion of the ship to the frontmost portion of the ship. So the stern to the bow. Does it go all the way to the stern and the bow? Not necessarily every single space, but is the main deck is the one that covers the most real estate from bow to stern. That's the main deck. Everything above the main deck is called a level. Levels are designated with a 0 in front. Okay, so the O1 level is the level that is directly above the main deck. The O2 level, so now we're going increasing numbers as we go up. Okay, so everything above the main deck increases as it goes up. So the O1 level, right above the main deck. O2 level is above the O1 level. O3 level, etc., etc., etc. So there's a 0 in front of it. That is up and down. What about front to aft? Well, that's called a frame. Okay. Different ships do framing different ways, whether it is in a foot segment or a 4-foot segment. On a carrier, it is typically a 4-foot segment. So a frame 1 would be as far forward as... So a frame goes all the way across. Subframes are forward of that, and then the frames go all the way aft. So it's the first frame that goes all the way across from port to starboard. So the main width of the ship is called a frame. Everything forward of that, which is typically in the bow, are going to be subframes, which are a little bit less. So they're still from all the way port and starboard, but they're not from the major beam of the ship. Okay, babble. So front to aft, forward to aft are frames. Lowest being at the front, highest being at the aft. So whether they're 1-foot frames, which is to say 1-foot designators, or 4-foot designators, or 8-foot designators, whatever. So the lowest frames are forward, the highest frames are aft. Side to side. So now we've covered up and down, forward to aft, and now we got to go side to side. It seems completely backwards, but even numbers are on the port side, odd numbers are on the starboard side. Why is that? God only knows. But that's the way it works out. So, center line. So if you ever see, so here's the bullet for any particular given space. O3, tack 127, tack 0, tack C. Okay, so I just rattled off 4 things there for you. What's a tack? Tack is military jargon for dash. Okay, just that little line that goes through the center things in a word. Tack, dash, same thing. Military jargon, tack. So that particular space, I gave you the level that it's on, the deck, the up and down. Next is the frame. Okay, so forward, aft, whichever it is. The next is side to side. Okay, so now I've given you 3 dimensions on the ship, and I said that was 0. What does 0 mean? That means it's on the center line. Okay, now does that mean the space is exactly centered on the center line? No, not at all. That just means that space crosses through the center line, which means it's a 0. It doesn't matter that it goes more to the port or more to the starboard. Doesn't matter. If that frame, if that space crosses the center line, it's going to be a 0. Then that last, the letter designator, is what type of space it is. C is command, L is living. You're going to see a lot of different, E is engineering, but command and control, C. So anyway, all those letter designators as to what type of space it is. So if we are moving starboard, then the next space away from center line is going to be a 1. Sorry. Yes, 1. Sorry. I'm getting myself backwards. The next space outboard is going to be a 3. The next space outboard is going to be a 5. The next space outboard is going to be a 7. Okay, so centered is 0. If we go starboard, we're going to do odd numbers, increasing as we get farther from the center line. In other words, outboard. As we're moving towards the outside of the ship from the center line, going starboard, we increase the number of the spaces. Likewise, on the port side, if we're going from the center line, which of course is 0, and we are going to the port side, we increase, okay, get this, increase, if you're facing forward, you're increasing from right to left, so it's completely the opposite of what you're used to, and we're using even numbers. So the first space to the port from the center line is going to be 2, then 4, then 6, then 8, etc., etc. Okay, so now if no matter where you are, you look at the bullet, look at the bullseye in the space, you can tell exactly where you are relative to everything else on the ship. You know what frame number you're in, you know what deck you're on. Makes it easy. So, what was I doing here? When I said the 01, originally I was thinking 01, but I've already designated it as starboard. So why did I put the 01 designator? There's going to be another one right next to this one, which is going to end up being 02. So what I originally was going to do was forward, which would really be forward 01 and then forward 03. The problem is I already put the starboard designator in there, so no biggie. So anyway, there's your lesson for naval space engineering for you. Okay, here's what else we're going to do, because we have this space in here. Yeah, I'm going to have to put something else in there. So, I'm going to eliminate that guy. We're going to turn this, and then we're going to turn this twice. Okay, so that connects in to the left, it connects into the tank on the right, and it connects into the other oxygen generator on the bottom. Alright, so click. So this one becomes gas generator forward, whoops, okay, dash, right, tack, dash tack, same thing. This is a forward port, forward 02. Okay, It's the forward section generator. So this is my forward engineering section. It's on the port side. It's on the forward section of that, and it's the second one in that forward section. So that's what my designators mean. Am I consistent all the way across the board? Probably. I tend to be a little fanatical about certain things. All right. Okay. We're going to do the same thing on this side, which is gas generator. This is forward. It is in the starboard side. It is the forward, and this is O2. All right. What else can we do here? Okay, I can really do nothing else as far as gas generators because of where everything is. So what I'm going to do is put a generic battery. Let me find batteries. Do I need any more thrusters? I really do not know. So I'm going to put a battery there. Battery. So, battery. Why do I put a battery there? Because I have nothing else I can put there. Alright. How about this section here? I am going to put... actually, I'm going to do it on the other side. And the reason I'm going to do it on the other side is because I want it to be the port side first. Alright, so staple that in there. And this one is going to be called cargo container, fuel, fuel, ice, port. Let's do forward port. Bunch of gas generators there. I need to go weld those. There's my other container. So I'm going to name that similarly. Fuel, ice, forward, starboard. I'm going to do scaffolding over the rest of everything here. Alright, so if I am following suit for what I'm doing elsewhere, then there's going to be 3 more gas generators back here. I'm going to flip those around. This one is up exactly like I want it. There. Then I'm going to flip it over, and that's going to be there and there. Alright. Okay. So we're going to do the same thing here that we did. So this is aft, port, lower. Middle. Aft, port, upper. Alright, we're going to zoom around the end here. Oops. In here. close enough. Aft, starboard, lower. Gas, generator, aft, starboard, middle, mid. Gas, generator, aft, starboard, upper. Alright, having done all that, we're going to mirror forward to aft, so obviously I'm going to put another generator there and another generator there, and then a container out here. But we're going to do that in the next stream. So, this is Kenty Tiger signing off, and we will see you next time.